Hey everyone, this is Ryan, and today we'll be going over the QuickStart for LongHaul C2. The first thing we're going to want to do is install make. We use a make file for a one-shot install because I hate super complicated setups. Next, we're going to go ahead and grab the repo. I've already got a local copy, so I'll go ahead and put the command on screen for you guys. Once you've got it downloaded, go ahead and cd into it and run sudo make deploy. Alrighty, once the install is complete, you can go ahead and actually run the system control commands to check the status of both services, of both the server and the web here. Looks like the server's down. Sometimes it takes us a second for the containers to start, so we'll check it again in a second here. But we can check the web service real quick. Looks like web's good to go, and let's give server one more shot. And there we go, looks like it's up. Then you can go ahead and navigate to your browser, or make sure you know your IP address first, or the address that this is listening on. Pop into your browser and head to the web interface. Make sure to put port 8083, and it should take you to the login page. Here you're going to put in the API address, which is currently just going to be https / whatever the IP the server's on, 45045. The initial user of LongHaul, and whatever you set as the password, which by default is password1bang. And go ahead and give it a login here. And go ahead and dismiss this for now. And just like that, we're in. The first thing we're going to want to do is create a listener. So if you hit the hamburger menu, and then we'll click profiles real quick. And then we're going to want to seed the profiles. Just make sure all the profiles are there initially on the server. You can just see all the profiles there. Click back into listeners and go ahead and top right, click in the listener, put a name for it, call it my first listener. Then we'll just put the IP of the machine this is running on as the bind host to listen on, and the port here should be 80. And last but not least, we'll select a network profile, which will be our HTTP profile. And then just add a quick note. And then we can just hit spawn, and it will go ahead and create the listener. A helpful tip too, most items you can double click on, and it'll take it into a sub page which has specific info about the listener, or whatever item it is. For the listener here, it's so the profile, what it looks like on the wire, and then notes and some other various info in here. All right, now that we have a listener set up, we can go ahead and actually create an implant. So we go back to the hamburger menu and click payloads, and then new payload in the top right. Give it a name, my first payload, callback host. So this is going to be where the implant reaches out to when it runs. For now, this is just going to be the same IP as the box the server's running on. We'll select the profiles and then leave the default get and post profiles and click the create button. Give this a quick second here. There we go. Go ahead and download the package by hitting package. And that'll give us a zip with the DLL and exe as well as the source code by hitting the source code button. You can also do this within the table itself in the payloads tab. Now that you've got an implant built, we're going to actually want to run it. So I've got it up here on my local machine. And I'll just give it a double click to run. It's going to yell at me for smart screen. Ignore that for now. And we can see it popped a new command window and is currently running. So if we can go to the operations tab, you can see that a new implant has checked in and sent its initial GET request with all its metadata. You can also see this in the engagement map, which is a cool little map that shows the implant, the host it's on, and then just some networking info that the implant has discovered on the host. Now that you have a running implant, you probably want to run some commands on it, or not. But to do that, you can go ahead and double click on the table and operations, and it'll pop the terminal. You can also go ahead and select it, and then in the top right, there'll be a terminal button to open the terminal as well. In here, you can just go ahead and run the help command, and it'll show you all the currently available commands. The help menu is stored locally on the web GUI, so it won't take a check-in to actually get this info. Just run help whenever you want, and it'll pop up. The first command we're going to run here is the sleep command. This adjusts how long the implant waits before checking back in, and we'll set it to 10 seconds here. And as you can see, it was successful, and it updates the GUI, and we'll see the next check-in time be in 10 seconds here. We can also change our current working directory with CD, and an important note is that all file paths for Windows take double backslashes, and the GUI will yell at you if you don't do this. So we're in the root of the C drive. We can also run ls to list files. Give it a second here to check in. And there's our list of files. The implant also has file upload and download capabilities. So we're going to go to a new directory, which I just created off screen. Wait for the implant to check in here. See what's in the directory. And I've put our original payload in here, and we're going to go ahead and download it through the implant. So file download, and then the file path here. Just going to copy it from the terminal. Oh, all files are also stored in the file store if you download them, so you don't have to worry about losing a file. Go ahead and run file download, file name, give her a second to check in here. And there it is. So it'll be displayed on screen as base64, but it'll also show up in the file store. And go ahead and download it as well if we wanted to. Uploading a file is pretty simple as well. There's a couple ways to do it. The first is to upload your file to the file store, which will store it on the server. I'm just going to upload a picture of my cat here. And then from the Operations tab, we can access the file in the file store. So file upload, name of the file where it's going to go on the host or on the target. And then we'll use the FS modifier in front of the image name, which will allow it to access the file store and send it onto the implant. Give it a second to check in here and run ls to make sure the file got there. And yep, looks like it made it there, cat.jpg. You can also just directly upload a file via the GUI in the Operations tab. So select the implant or implants, select the write to disk option, and then select where you want to write the file. So cat from GUI.jpg. Upload your file here, and then click the queue task, and it's going to go ahead and queue an upload task. It's a little bit of a faster way of doing it if you just want to quickly upload a file. If you don't want whatever you're uploading to actually be written to disk, you can go ahead and use the mem store, which is just going to hold items in memory. So we can run memstore list, and we can see there's nothing actually in the memory store right now. Via the GUI, we can go ahead and upload whatever we want. The key is just going to be the name. So we'll do the same cat image, and then queue it. Give it a quick sec to check in. And go ahead and list it again, and we should see the cat image in the memory store. So this is in the implant's memory on the heap. It is XOR encoded with the key name, which is the file name. So not super well protected, but just enough to hopefully defeat some basic memory scans. We can also go ahead and download it. So cat and mem store, and this will display the file on screen in the terminal, and it will not store it in the file store currently. So see, it is not in the file store. It's just in the terminal as base64. This might be something I change in the future where it does go to the file store, but for now it didn't make sense as memstore items are meant to be a lot smaller or intended to be, such as like BOFs or things like that. You can also clear the entire memstore by running memstore clear. This will delete every item in there. You can also delete specific items with memstore delete. And we'll see here it is cleared out once the implant checks in. Another important set of commands are the Strat commands. So these will change the active strategy that the implant's using. Currently, this implant only has one strategy on it, but we'll get to that more in a second here with having more strategies on one implant. But we can list strategies with Strat list, and then Strat active will show the current active strategy. Last but certainly not least is the BOF command. So this allows you to run BOFs, and you can run them from the file store. I uploaded a BOF a second ago here. So BOF fs : and then the name of your BOF from the file store. It'll run it and upload it to the implant and then execute it here. You can see that we have the ARP tables now. One of LongHaul's defining features is having multiple strategies in one implant, allowing you to switch between multiple strategies or protocols or whatever. So in order to do that, you're going to need to choose at least two strategies. So I've got the DNS one here, and then the FTP one. And we're going to need to create a listener for both of these so they can be baked into the implant. So I'll start off with the FTP listener. And give it the proper FTP port so it looks legit, and of course the profile here. And then we can do the same with DNS. Alrighty, now that we have these two, we can actually go ahead and create the implant. So go to the payloads page, click new payload, name our payload, set our callback host here, as well as the profiles we want. So the listeners are the profiles. These will show up, each listener will have a profile in this page, and we'll set our initial options to the DNS profile. And you can see there's the option for the FTP. So you can do split out of the gate if you want to, but for now we're just going to stick to DNS on both get and post. Give her a second to build here. All right, go ahead and download it. Jump back to the Operations tab. And any second now we should see it pop up. All right, execute the payload here. And we can see that the implant is connected on the DNS profile for get and post. Just double click on it. List the strategies on it. And we can see that we have both an FTP and a DNS profile for both get and post. So we can now run strat set both, which is just going to set both of the get and post profiles to the FTP profile. Go ahead and send it. And in a second here, when it checks in again, you'll see that it'll update on the get strategy and post strategy to the FTP profile. Yeah, there we go. They both just changed. So it's a seamless switchover. It just switches its strategy on the next check-in. There should be no downtime unless the profile is broken or you don't have a listener running. But they should just seamlessly switch. And then we can just set the get to the DNS profile. So now we're running a split C2 of get over DNS and then post over FTP. This is probably a bit safer than having both of the same because DNS is a pretty constrained protocol. You do a lot of just small tasking this way and then post bigger things out over FTP. And we could also switch post right back to DNS as well if we wanted to. And this works with any combo strategies. So combine any strat you want into these implants and then switch them at will. Alrighty, one of the last things we're going to cover here is going to be the audit settings or admin settings. So we have a few good things in here. An audit log, which records every command ran and certain events on the server, such as an implant checked in. I added that after recording this video so that the implant checked in won't show up here. But there are things like listener deleted or task ran. Additionally, we have the settings tab with user preferences. You can control auto refresh, how often that happens, as well as where those notifications pop up. They can get kind of annoying in the middle. In general, here's your profile. You can go ahead and change your password if you want and set up 2FA. And then for users, you can create some new users here as well. Everything in the audit log is tracked by user. So for that reason, I discourage using the LongHaul account and having each of your operators have their own user with their own two-factor as well. Alrighty, I think that's just about everything I need to cover in a QuickStart guide. I'll have some more videos out soon with more specific features, diving into more advanced things like that strat switching or some of those special command line commands. In the meantime, go ahead and check out the docs at docs.longhaulc2.com and then the repos at github.com/longhaulc2. And if you find any bugs, please open an issue on GitHub. I tried my best to test everything on my end, but I'm sure I missed a few things here and there. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.